appreciate y'all being on tonight. I'll share my screen with y'all in a second. I will let y'all know my computer. It looks like it is 4:44 on my computer. So I hope my computer's not giving me any problems. I got my computer in like 2020, I think. So it's like right on the verge of needing to be replaced, but I'm trying to hold off. So we'll just pray and hope for the best for this evening. Thank you again, everybody, for being on tonight. And I'll go ahead and share my screen with y'all. We'll go over the April brand kit and announcements. First of all, and I so appreciate our new uh, office administrator, Bailey, for putting this together for this month. And thank y'all for uh, being here, of course, and just listening to me every single month go over these announcements. I know that these are sent out to you via email, but I also like to just start our meetings with a little refresher and just make sure that y'all are aware of all the awesome events that our brokerage offers. There's a lot of brokerages out there that you just sign up and you pay your monthly fee and they don't offer you much of anything in return. And so I just want y'all to know that we are so blessed to be a part of this brokerage that has events for us, and they have tons of free training and resources for our agents. So I always want to make sure that y'all are aware of these things so that y'all are able to take advantage wherever you can. Important information, we are growing. We've added 16 new agents to our team last month. So thank y'all so much for referrals for our brokerage. And if you know anybody that is maybe getting their real estate license or just is needing a change or something like that, you are welcome to share my information or Zach's information with them, and we'd be happy to talk to them. I'll get into that a little more in our training this evening. We're working on this month onboarding, revamped, and streamlined. So if you do refer new agents, they're going to have a pretty seamless process to get on with our company. They are updating our website tools and working on creating a follow-up campaign after agents join. So more training, more resources, especially for these new agents that maybe pass their test and then they're just like, now what? I don't know what I'm doing. So this is great to have updated training and resources, and it is something that they are, in the process of working on. We upgraded our Zoom quality for online trainings and fixed dot loop templates and forms if you were having any issues, especially for our Chattanooga agents. We did win another award. We are first in the real estate companies for the entire Southeast and fifth overall nationwide. So this is an amazing feat that our company's done in 2025. And I would recommend, if you are somebody that gets on social media or shares real estate related things on social media, maybe you can even share this to say, hey, our company got first in the real estate companies from Inc. Regionals, and we were first for the entire Southeast, fifth overall. So this is an amazing thing for our brokerage. It sets you up as a professional, somebody that's working for a company that's winning awards and knows what they're doing, and just another way to associate your name, your face with real estate. Priority title, if you are in Tennessee and you deal with title companies versus closing attorneys, then we have a deal right now, $2.99 credit towards your closing cost and fees. This applies to new deals submitted on priority title from now on. So, by the way, if you don't know, Priority Title is our title company in Tennessee. We did have a recruiting contest in the month of March, and we have a winner, Dim. She has referred agents to our company, and we appreciate her for winning this. And of course, she's getting some cash to put in her pocket for recommending agents come to our brokerage. So it's a win-win. Our monthly team meeting is actually going to be next Thursday. Nope, sorry, next Tuesday. This is the corporate or Murfreesboro, our main office, their monthly team meeting. And that's going to be next Tuesday, 10 o'clock Central Time, so 11 o'clock our time. You can go into the office if you're local, or you can join via Zoom, just like you joined this meeting tonight. It's the exact same link. And there's usually 30 to 50-ish people that get on the Zoom. I know when I'm on, sometimes more than that. So you're not going to be the only one, and you will definitely learn some things in these meetings. Zach and Cameron usually lead these. Our training classes that are coming up for the Murfreesboro office: Prospecting 101 training with Michael Dindy. I don't know what that's about, but would recommend that you reach out to Zach or Cameron if you want a little more clarification on what the training is about. Chattanooga training classes, they have a team meeting, or they had a team meeting this morning. Mastering your social media posting calendar. That's going to be next Wednesday, the 9th. Learn how to understand CRS tax records and GIS maps. That'll be the following Wednesday. First 90 days as a real estate agent. That's probably some great information. And then how to network as a real estate agent, the last Wednesday of the month. And these will be led by Emily Berryman, who is our Chattanooga broker. And again, no matter if you're in Georgia, Murfreesboro, Alabama, Florida, wherever you may be, you're welcome to join in any of our training classes, no matter the area. Georgia training classes, that is this specific class. We do these Wednesdays at 5:30. They're usually led by me unless I bring in a guest speaker or a preferred vendor or something like that. Tonight, we're going to go over the most frequently asked questions that I've gotten by Zach Taylor agents since I've been broker, and hopefully some good information for y'all tonight. Next week, commonly negotiated terms in a real estate transaction. This is when my computer was messing up. I didn't get to these negotiated terms, so this will be some good information, and I can definitely give y'all some good insight on negotiating and some common things that you may have to negotiate if you're inside a real estate transaction. Wednesday, April 16th, we're going to talk about all things Zach Taylor accounting. So as far as your CDA, how you get paid, how money goes out, comes in, all the things dealing with accounting with our accountant, Mike. He is fairly new to our Zach Taylor office, so I've asked him to prepare a presentation just to introduce himself, but then also to answer all of y'all's questions regarding accounting. So this could definitely help you. Then on the 30th, we're going to talk about all things home inspections, and I have a friend who's a home inspector. His name's Dono Shields. He's going to be presenting with us and talking about home inspections. Probably has a good presentation about things to look for, etc. I will just make a note on April the 24th. We are not going to have our Wednesday meeting. I'll, of course, send out a reminder, probably via text and email about this, just so you don't block off your time and we don't have a meeting that day. I'm going to be out of town at a real estate conference, so yes, again, we just won't have a meeting that week. Did want to make y'all all aware we are having a Georgia office event, and if you're not local to the Atlanta area, then you're still welcome to come. It doesn't matter. We're going to have a lunch and learn with Ben Berlin from Thumbtack. We did a training with him a couple months ago, probably at this point. But he's coming into town. He's based out of the Chicago area. He's coming into town on Thursday, May 1st. And we're going to be eating lunch and learning about Thumbtack with him. Gabe's downtown. This is in Villa Rica, which is a little west of Atlanta. And we look forward to a good time and free lunch, by the way. April brand kit. Here's our brand kits. You can click to customize these if you'd like. It's got some good information on open houses, springtime, Easter, all the good things. Here are March top producers by units sold and top producer by sales volume. I encourage all of our agents that are on tonight to strive to get on this list. And I think by you being here tonight, you are making the first step to that, of course. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out our dot loop and compliance playlist and our trainings as well. And then, of course, connect with us on social media. If you're not a part of that Zach Taylor Agents group, I highly recommend you join it because we post referrals, open house opportunities, all kinds of things. So please join that if you're not already a part. I'm going to go ahead and get started tonight, unless anybody has any questions, concerns about our um, April trainings and events. Okay, good, good. Okay, so I'm Victoria Jones, and this is the most frequently asked questions by your fellow Zach Taylor agents. We'll get right into this. Let's see if I can do this. Y'all know I always have the worst time with this. Okay, there we go. All right. So I've been the Georgia broker for a little over a year. Started in February of 2024, and I definitely don't claim to know everything about Zach Taylor or about real estate, but I have found that a lot of the questions that I get as broker, we have about 90-ish agents, 85 plus agents between Chattanooga, which is like right on the Georgia border. So I deal with some of their questions regarding Georgia transactions. And then in the Atlanta area are Georgia agents. But a lot of these questions are repeated quite frequently. When people call me, they're asking the same thing, and not necessarily the same person asking the same thing, but I find a lot of the questions most frequently asked are just kind of things that I'd like to go over tonight. My hopes are that this class is going to answer those questions that people have asked me. And hopefully, if you have any questions that you've been wondering and maybe just haven't asked me, haven't reached out, or maybe just haven't been in the situation where you've seen, these questions or needed an answer for this, hopefully this class will help you and help answer these questions. All right, number one, most frequently asked question, and this isn't not necessarily in order. These are just, my top 10, I'll say. Do I need to put the reasonings for a reduction of sales price or credit on the amendment to address concerns? Does anybody want to say if you need, like, unmute yourself or put it in the chat? Do you need to put the reasonings for a reduction of sales price or credit on the amendment to address concerns? Or ATAC? Really? Okay. Well, short answer is no, you do not. Putting the reasonings or like specific repairs or specific things that are wrong with the house can cause red flags with the lender when the loan goes through underwriting. So we want to try to leave like specific repairs, especially when you're asking for a reduction of sales price or credit on that amendment to address concerns. The lender could actually require repairs if they know certain things are going on with the house. So it's best if they're not in this amendment to address concerns. Again, they can be talked about via email or between agents or whatever you need it to be to try to negotiate. But again, it doesn't have to be on that amendment to address concerns, especially if you're looking for, again, a price reduction or a credit. Now, the lender may also require proof of repairs on things that are mentioned here. So if you're representing a buyer and you ask the seller to replace the hot water heater, the lender may come back several days before closing and say, hey, or even sometimes 1 or 2 days before closing and say, hey, we need proof that the hot water heater was replaced. We need receipts, invoices. We need to show that it was paid. We need to have photos of it installed in the house to make sure everything was correct. And it just causes a little confusion. And I've had closings delayed because of this. So my recommendation, if you're asking for sales price, reduction or credit, would it just be put in lieu of repairs? Don't specify specific repairs, but in lieu of repairs, purchase price to be X, or in lieu of repairs, the seller shall provide a credit of X amount. And I'm hoping that will help y'all on these amendment to address concerns versus going in and stating everything that's wrong with the house so that you don't have issues, especially again when you are going through that loan process. And as always, if at any time y'all have questions on anything that I'm talking about or want to interject something, personal experience or whatever it may be, you feel free to unmute yourself or drop something in the chat if you have a interjection. Number two, frequently asked question. I got an offer for a listing the first day on the market. Should I accept this? And does anybody have a experience with this or have any insight to give maybe a less experienced agent? Would you accept the first offer that you got the first day on the market? Forget how quiet y'all are. Okay. Well, I'll tell y'all because I'm over the training. Answer for this is it depends. Okay. So every transaction is going to be different in real estate. So if you get an offer first day on the market, it's very likely that all of the potential buyers that may could come to your property have not had a chance to see it. Now, we do live in the day and age of internet. So when your listing goes active and goes live, it is going to be broadcasted to the world. So people may have seen it even online, but just not been able to like sit down with their spouse and talk about it or plan out childcare for them to come physically see the house. So again, if you're getting an offer first day on the market, then I'm not saying no, you don't need to accept it, but I would at least give some time where any potential buyers that you have had time to physically lay eyes on the property. But if you do get an offer that has terms acceptable to the seller, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and present to the seller to get an opinion on the offer. My preference is always to list a house on a Thursday, then not make a decision on any offers until at least Sunday evening or Monday morning. That way, we give the entire weekend for buyers to be able to circulate through showings and open houses and whatever else we may have planned. Um, I like this because it allows more buyers to see the property, and hopefully, if you get an offer first day on the market, by the time Sunday evening or Monday morning rolls around, you'll have multiple offers, and then you can kind of have these buyers compete for the house, which is an amazing place to be in when you are the listing agent. Once you have an offer in hand, this can be a bargaining or negotiation tool to ask for highest and best offers from potential buyers so that they can give their best offer with the best terms that are going to be favorable to the seller. So, again, I'm not saying no, you shouldn't take the first offer. Sometimes your first offer is your best offer. There may be somebody that's waited for this particular house to come onto the market, and the second that it does, they're just doing whatever it takes to get this house and they'll beat absolutely anybody. But let's at least give some time, is what I suggest, for some competition for them. That way you can profit your seller the most amount of money and it makes you look really good in a multiple offer situation. Question number three. I've gotten this so many times recently. There's a buyer who called me off of my sign. So this would be a listing agent. They have their for sale sign up and a buyer called them with their number on the sign. Can I represent both sides of the deal? The short answer for this is no. Now, through Zach Taylor, especially in Georgia, we do not offer dual agency. So you cannot look out for both seller and buyer's best interest and represent both sides of the transaction honestly and ethically and fairly. But there is a caveat to this. So I just want y'all to know, if somebody calls you off your for sale sign, you can represent one side as a customer. So, listing agent, you can represent your seller as a client and then the buyer as a customer. With representing a buyer in a transaction, when you also represent the seller as a client, You have to look out for the seller's best interests. There's a lot of gray area with this because you can't look out for the buyer's best interest. You can't make recommendations on repairs or credits or price or anything like that. You really can't give them any kind of real estate related advice or loan advice or anything like that. You can only give, you know, bare facts regarding the house and assist them with writing up paperwork. So you do have to make sure that they're aware of this ahead of time. If they do want true representation, they need to get an agent. And I have been in this personally. I don't know that I've shared my entire story with y'all, but I've been in this situation where I had a listing, had a buyer approach me, wanted to see a house that I had listed, and insisted that she did not want representation. She wanted me to help her with paperwork. And let's just say the deal ended really, really bad for all parties. So just take it from my experience. Don't try to represent both sides. And I would say my preference would be to refer this out to a Zach Taylor agent in the area. And if you do that, then you can essentially get a referral fee back. So you get a partial credit, if that makes sense, or partial compensation back on a referral of somebody that you represented, or I'm sorry, that you referred out, like a buyer that you referred out. Just make sure that paperwork's done ahead of time and make sure the buyer is comfortable, of course, with this. This transaction and representation by this specific agent. But that would be my recommendation. If somebody calls you off your sign, maybe refer them to another Zach Taylor agent that you can give a referral to. They'll pay you a referral fee at closing, and it's a win-win for everyone because they have true representation and everybody's looking out for, their client's best interest versus you having to try to look out for two people's at once who want totally opposite things. So that's my recommendation, and I think that's a win-win. Number four, where do I find a legal description? And in Georgia, I'm not sure about Tennessee, but in Georgia, you can make a good connection with a closing attorney and you can request a full legal description from them. They will actually give you the deed book and page number and the entire printed county record. So I'll show you what it looks like real quick, just in case you've never seen one. This is a legal description that I got on a house that I have under contract. Right now, it's going to be the limited warranty deed. This was given by a closing attorney. So right here, main part that is going to show the legal description of this house is this right here. If you remember in your real estate classes, the address is not a true legal description or representation of the house because it can vary and there can be typos or whatever else, maybe there, it's just not a true representation of the home itself. So we have to show the meets and bounds and all that jazz that we don't use. But we have to show land lot, district, county, lot 5, block A, phase 1 of Brandon Hill subdivision, the plat book and the page, Clayton County, Georgia, and the tax ID, etc. So this right here shows the legal description of the property, and you can also include the deed book and page number if you'd like. And then I also will show y'all one more way to grab a legal description. This is through FMLS. If you are a Georgia agent and you're not a part of FMLS, I highly recommend that you join FMLS, mainly because it's free for our agents. You don't pay a monthly fee, and there's tons of resources on here. You go to public records after you click matrix. And let's see, I'll just show y'all the same property that I just showed y'all the legal description for. Search there just with the address. And you can see it has tons of tax data here, lots of good information. And this right here, this tax information is going to reflect the same thing as that legal description that we got from the attorney's office. So same tax ID, parcel ID, the block is A, it's block A, lot 5. The lot number is 5, 8 is the tax district area. And then also if you come down to the close to the bottom, you also have the deed book and page number here. That can be another representation of this particular property. So if you need a legal description for a property that you're selling or a property that you are making an offer on, my recommendation would be, first of all, make a good connection with a closing attorney, and they can usually just send you one, usually within a couple hours. But if you don't have a good connection with a closing attorney, then you can pull it in FMLS tax data. All right, moving right along here. Number 5, when should I fill out my CDA and why hasn't Zach signed my CDA? I don't know how many times I've been asked this. They're like, man, my closing is today. I don't know why Zach hasn't signed my CDA. And then we have to, go scurrying around to get Zach's signature so y'all can get paid. So just a little side note, if you join the monthly meeting for March for our entire brokerage. These are the first Tuesday of every month. Again, Zach and Cameron host these. You would have gotten the answers to these questions. They talked about CDAs, they talked about the timeline and the process of this, and it's very important. This is where you solidify what you're getting at closing, what you're getting paid at closing, and it helps you not have to wait on your check or wait for if the attorney doesn't split up the check correctly or incorrectly, then they send a check over to our Murfreesboro office, and then we have to wait for it to go through accounting and be split up and then maybe wired to you or a check mailed back to you. And we don't have to do that. We are in an electronic day and age where we can fill out a CDA, let the attorney know who needs to be dispersed, how, and then you can get paid at closing. It's the best thing ever. So if you joined into our meeting, you would have got the answer to this. So if you don't join into the monthly meetings, I highly encourage you to join in. It's once a month for 1 hour, sometimes less. So there's always good updates. And for our Atlanta agents, you can join via Zoom like I do. So there's no reason not to. Put it on your calendar, plan to join in for our monthly meetings. But if you didn't join in last month, the CDA should be filled out at least 3 days prior to your scheduled closing. My recommendation is going to be to usually do this after the appraisal comes back on the property if there's a loan on this specific transaction and all contingencies have been fulfilled. So essentially when you're in the clear and you're going to be closing, except if, something crazy happens or somebody changes their mind, and you kind of know like who's giving what concessions, all of the compensation's been accounted for and all of that. That way, if you fill it out at that point, you only have to fill it out once. You don't have to redo it if anybody has to negotiate their commission or compensation, or we have to renegotiate price, etc. We do have 450 agents, plus or minus. I'm not exactly sure. 460 is what I heard, I think, when we were at the awards a couple weeks ago. So a lot of these CDAs are coming through our Murfreesboro office. Zach and Cameron are looking at all of these. So just again, at least 3 days prior to closing, you want to do that. But my recommendation would be as soon as the appraisal, financing contingency, and all of these things have been taken care of, then go ahead and fill out your CDA. It's just like another, check mark on your list to get to closing. And our owner, Zach, he likes to sign these about 48 hours before closings. If you send it to him about a month in advance or longer than that, then he's probably going to wait to sign it until a little closer to closing because, again, we get a lot of these. He likes to wait to make sure everything is going to go through. So the reason he likes to do it about 2 days before closing is he will sign, you will get notified via dot loop that he is signed, and then you can send your CDA to your closing attorney so they can disperse your funds correctly at closing. So if you're waiting on a signature from him and it's less than 48 hours until you're closing and all of your dot loop files have been approved, including your CDA, then you can send him an email or shoot me an email or text or whatever it may be, and then we'll look into it a little further. Of course, we have tons of agents, so these things do sometimes get, missed, I guess. But if you're more than 48 hours out, you probably don't want to bug him because he may be waiting until that 48-hour mark. But again, if you're less than 48 hours and everything's already been approved, then go ahead and contact him or contact me, and we can get it taken care of for you. But again, make sure all your dot loop files have been approved and everything has been done on your end before you are inquiring on why no one has signed your CDA. Number 6, does Zach Taylor hold earnest money? Short answer on this is no. We don't hold earnest money, at least in our Georgia office. So in Tennessee, we do have a title company. The title company is Priority Title, and our title company, they can hold earnest money for Tennessee transactions. So if you have a Tennessee transaction, you're closing with Priority, they can definitely hold your earnest money for you. But in Georgia, would not have a place for you. Our office is pretty small. We don't have a separate escrow account. And so it would not be legal for us to hold the earnest money at this time. Now, there may be down the road a time where we do incorporate holding earnest money, and I will definitely announce that when that takes place. I will say that at bigger, maybe more established, longer standing brokerages, they do sometimes hold earnest money, but I would definitely watch out for this as a red flag. When you are representing a buyer or seller in a transaction, if the other party is wanting their brokerage to hold earnest money, I've just been burned by this because whoever is holding the earnest money, they typically tend to side towards their party and who they're representing if there's ever a dispute over earnest money. So just keep that in mind. What I recommend is whoever you're closing with, like in the state of Georgia, if you're using a closing attorney, whoever you're closing with, they're a non-biased party. So I would recommend having them hold the earnest money. And I've went over this, but you can use the F510 and F511 to solidify that they're holding earnest money and what the details of that will be. Let's keep moving right along. Number 7, what kind of things go into the special stipulations section of a contract? I think I've went over this before, but I want to reiterate this for anybody who didn't know. So this pretty much can be anything. This is your free space to be able to write in anything particular that your client needs or wants in their contract. So this is a really cool spot, especially in the state of Georgia. I don't think Tennessee has it quite like we have it, like a big empty spot. In this space, you can put escalation clauses. You can put appraisal gaps if needed. We're not seeing too many of those anymore. But if you don't know what those are, I would go ahead and refamiliarize yourself with appraisal gaps and escalation clauses because we may be seeing those going back into the summer market, and if the rates come down a little bit, which I'm hoping they will, again, you may want to refamiliarize yourself with the verbiage on these things. But to answer your question, what kind of things? All the things. Anything in the special stipulation section overrules what's pre-populated in the contract. So anything that's written in the contract, if you put something into special stipulations, that overrides that. So it's very important. It's a very important area. If you need anything paid for or done by the seller prior to closing, I would recommend you put it in the special stipulation section. This could be something like if your buyer wants the septic tank pumped, put that in the special stipulation section. If they need a septic clearance letter, if you need a termite letter, if you have any contingencies, a home sale contingency would have its own exhibit, but you also can put it into the special stipulations that this offer is contingent on your buyer selling, X address by X date for X amount of money or whatever it may be. And if in the case that it doesn't sell by this date, then they're welcome to terminate their contract and regain their earnest money, whatever, it may be. And I think that I've told y'all this before, but Georgia Association of Realtors have a like hundreds of special stipulations on a form. We have that pre-populated into dot loops. So if you ever have questions on specific things, the verbiage and the wording on it, you probably can find in that special stipulation index. Contingencies, if deadlines are preferred to be in business days, then you need to also stipulate what actually is a business day because business days are different depending on what business that you're in. So if you want all of your deadlines to not fall between Saturday and Sunday, you can stipulate that in the special stipulation ceremony. One other side note, if you're at the award ceremony, you may have heard our preferred insurance agent talking about bigger companies. They are now denying homeowners insurance if your roof on the property that your buyer is buying or, selling, either way, if the roof is over 10 years old. So you may want to include a homeowner's insurance contingency that states that if your client is not approved for homeowner's insurance based on the age of the roof, then they have a way to back out, or the seller has to do, such and such new roof, X amount of credit, whatever it may be. And this was a special stipulation that I saw in one of my contracts recently regarding a homeowner's insurance contingency. I want to read this to y'all in case you need to reference back to this for any new contracts or offers you're going to be writing. All parties acknowledge and agree that this contract is contingent upon the purchaser being able to obtain homeowners insurance on property prior to closing. If insurance cannot be issued for property in current condition, purchaser shall be allowed to terminate and receive a full refund of earnest money with no penalty. So if you need to copy that and put that in your offer, if the roof looks like it's, over 10 years old, that can kind of cover your buyer in that sense. And if there are any items being left with a house that are not on the seller's property disclosure, or if there are any items that you want removed from the property prior to closing, would also recommend giving a due date on this, but put these things into the special stipulation section. One other little side note, special stipulations should always state who does what by when, and if they don't do it, then what is the penalty of that? So, example, on the verbiage that I gave regarding the homeowner's insurance, they're saying that the contract is going to be contingent on the buyer getting homeowner's insurance, but if they're not able to get homeowner's insurance, they're able to back out, get a refund of their earnest money, and they have no other penalties. So the seller can't try to charge fees or anything like that. And hope that helps y'all when y'all are writing some special stipulations of kind of some things to think about, and maybe to, try to double check that when you're writing a special stipulation, you're stating who is going to do what by a specific date or days prior to closing or whatever it may be. And then if they don't do that, what is the repercussions of that? Is the buyer able to back out? Is the buyer going to be compensated? Whatever it may be, I would recommend you put in the special stipulations section. And again, these override what has been pre-populated in the contract. So these are a big deal. Okay, number 8. How do I refer an agent to join our brokerage? I'm so glad you asked. If you're wondering how to get credit for referring an agent, the way that our brokerage gives a referral bonus is if that agent puts your name on their paperwork when they're doing onboarding. If they name you as the person that referred them, then you automatically get that credit. It's usually within 60 days of them joining our brokerage. We ask that our agents just be honest and share their experience with our brokerage, and share our compensation structure. Just be honest with other agents. Let them know what we're about. And if you introduce the agents to, or the agent that you're recommending join our brokerage, if you introduce them to Bailey or Zach, or Bailey or me, or, whoever you're most comfortable with, we will handle the rest the process, the paperwork, the transfer, all of that. So we'll, make it very easy on you. All you have to do is give us the, introduction. We'll take care of the rest. And of course, take good care of anybody that you refer to us. And here's a good resource if you are considering an agent that would like to switch over to our brokerage. Wanted to show y'all, we have a booklet. This is a Welcome to Zach Taylor booklet. And this is what I take if I'm meeting with any agents that are considering a switch. This is the booklet that I take. I have pre-printed versions of this, but then I also have this electronic copy. I take this to just showcase our brokerage. I think it puts a really good representation of our brokerage. It's very professional. And it overviews everything. So there's no questions, there's no surprises, anything like that. People are able to see what we offer and what they get. So 99 monthly fee, we're all paying that. $299 transaction fee, $175 broker admin fee. By the way, $175 is what goes to me. This helps me just with my time, my energy, my effort, doing these trainings, answering your questions. Staying up to date on all the GAR forms and all the things that I do, that compensates me for my time. Our transaction fee is capped at $5,980 a year. So this is the max you'll ever pay to our brokerage. And again, if you're talking with an agent that's considering joining, let them know, like, this is amazing. This is amazing that we cap and then they get to keep 100% of their compensation. And I cap just about every year. And it's an amazing thing to get to keep 100%. Also have a little asterisk here. Ask us how to make this $0. If anybody asks you how to make that $0, we essentially have a way that you can roll over our transaction fee and our broker fee into the compensation on your buyer's broker agreement or listing agreement. That way, the client is actually the one covering those costs for you. So that's a win-win also. We believe in full transparency, no squinting for fine print, no commission splits, franchise fees, cloud storage fees, business tax fees, hidden fees. You get where this is going. So again, I'm a big fan. I know that y'all are because y'all are with us. But if you are ever talking to someone about joining our brokerage, you can let them know we offer tools and software. We have all of these things. We offer lead programs, additional features. We have the freedom to negotiate our compensation. A lot of brokerages are going to require you to have a specific compensation amount because they want their 20%, 30%, 40%, or whatever it may be. So at Zach Taylor, you have the freedom to negotiate. If you're working with a friend or family member, you're welcome to take less compensation to try to, help that person out. We get paid at closing. There's agent referral bonuses. And then also, if y'all weren't aware of these things, we do offer an in-house transaction coordinator. It's additional fee, but you are welcome to use that if you'd like. If you're not familiar with forms or whatever it may be, or maybe just don't enjoy the paperwork side of this, then you do have that option as well. Zach Taylor Teams is optional and a mentorship program is optional. Those three things, I believe there are additional cost or commission split, things like that. But we give you the freedom to be able to do that. If you want it, great. If you don't, we won't charge you for it. This is just a breakdown of some other local brokerages and their transaction splits, and it's insane. It's just insane. You can look through those. You can sit down with somebody and do the math, what their current brokerage is charging them in monthly fees, deals, transaction fees, and splits, and then put it side by side with our fees to see if it'll save them some money, which it most likely will. Then also it's just showing that we give booklets, guides. We have tons of free information for our agents. We offer business cards, pre-populated information. If they want to use our templates, they're welcome to. But also, one of my favorite things is that we can customize our business cards, we can customize our for sale sign, and as long as it's GREC compliant, Zach doesn't care if it's black, white, and gold. So I love that because I've built my own brand, and I love that I'm, not tied to exactly what he would use on his specific sign. I can, make it my own. So for sale signs, again, we offer templates. If you want an easy way and you don't want to have to put in a bunch of effort, you just stick your picture here, put your information in. But again, I love that he does let us customize things if we need. Of course, we have hangouts, we have trainings, we have weekly trainings, y'all see. We have YouTube channel, we have Thinkific, our online training, we have a mentorship program. Then it goes into meeting our team, Zach and Taylor, and then you can scan for more information as well. So again, if you are referring somebody to our office and you need like something tangible, if you'll get with me, I have physical copies of these. We also have probably 100 copies at the Georgia office. And then I have this electronically that I can email you if you ever would be interested in that. All right, moving right along. We only have two more questions, y'all. All right, so that's how to refer an agent. Again, the main thing you want to make sure when referring an agent is that they put your name on their onboarding paperwork. That way we can make sure to give you credit and pay you for the referral. Okay, how do I fill out a CDA? Sorry to keep going out of my slides. I'm going to show y'all how to fill out a CDA. I hope everybody in this training tonight has filled out a CDA before. If not, then tonight's the night. You get to learn. I'll do it very quickly. It's not a lot of, it's not, super complicated. So I'm just going to go into this house I have listed at the moment, go down to CDA, and it's very simple. You'll see. All right. Commission disbursement authorization. This is blah, blah, blah. This is essentially the form that the closing attorney or title company gets to say, hey, we're getting paid this amount of compensation. This much goes to Zach Taylor. This much goes to FMLS. This much goes to the agent. This much goes to a referral fee, whatever it may be. This is where we put it. That way your check or your wire is correct at closing. Put the property address here. Title company, this also may be the closing attorney in Georgia, this date that you are closing, purchase price. And this is not necessarily what's on the original contract. It's after any reduction to sales price or any amendment to address concerns has pulled down the purchase price. So you'll put that there. Check if you're the selling agent or buyer's agent. And then if it's a lead referral, OpCity, Redfin, sold.com, etc. If it's a lead referral, check yes or no. You put here the total compensation earned in dollars. So $10,000 we'll put here. Okay, so it auto-populates, which is really cool. It does the math for you. Zach Taylor Real Estate, $299. And then let's say FMLS fees. Let's say your FMLS fees are, sorry, I need to put it here. FMLS fees are $500, then it automatically does the math for you. And then you'll put your name where the rest is, okay? If you're going to pick up your check or wire, or sorry, pick up your check at closing, check this box. If you want it wired to you, check this box. If you're not attending closing, but you want it mailed to you, check this box. Other, you can check other and then put in whatever information that you have, give it to the buyer at closing, whatever it may be. If you mail it, I would recommend you put your street address here, or else it'll automatically get mailed to our Georgia office. And as long as it's a Georgia transaction, and then I have to track you down. So I'd recommend if you get it mailed, put your home address so you can get it sent directly to you. So pretty simple. Easy to fill out a CDA. Of course, things can get tricky if there are referral fees or different numbers. At any time, if you have questions on that, just give me a call. Okay, last question. Just got this one this week. I'm representing a buyer. The listing agent hasn't returned a document signed, and we're coming in on our deadline. What should I do? And short answer is whatever it takes is what you do. Within being ethical, of course. You don't want to, cuss somebody out because they haven't returned a document before the deadline. You're welcome to reach out to the agent multiple times and on multiple platforms such as email, text, phone call, uh, whatever way you'd like. I don't care if Facebook them. It doesn't matter to me. More than once an hour is not necessary, so you don't have to harass an agent if they haven't gotten back with you. But you can let them know that you are aware of the deadline and make them aware of the deadline. We're not here to strong arm a listing agent. And we're not here to nag them, but we are here to look out for our client's best interest, of course. So you can be reminding them multiple times if needed. Agents are definitely busy. I know. Agents are definitely busy, and there just are times that they forget or they've just gotten caught up with other things. And so they just need to be reminded. So again, I would be kind. I would be polite. I would not, try to strong arm them. I would not cuss anybody out. I would just remind them of the deadline. And if they are not being responsive for more than 12 to 24 hours, I would recommend giving a phone call to their broker or an emailing them, CCing their broker and maybe me as well. That way that we can make sure we get in touch with them and we can make sure they're not out of town or having an emergency or something like that. Because, if a deadline is coming up, you ultimately are responsible for, ensuring that the things that your client has asked for are signed off on before that deadline, or else then you need to be willing to, come up with some money to try to make it right or whatever it may be. So again, whatever it takes to get an answer from an agent and get a response and a signature, you have my permission without, being unprofessional. Okay, so Victoria tip,
Hey,
don't be afraid.
Victoria.
Yes, hey Ross.
I just want to say thanks for those pointers. That's a good idea. I was just listening to that, and I just had one of those too. And boy, it'll keep you on the edge of your chair, not knowing. And I'm not a big fan that both parties have to sign too on a lot of the docs.
Yeah.
And it's like even if your party signs but they don't, then how much do you bug them or what do you do? So thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. And I will say, I've definitely been the agent that said, hey, if we don't get a signature by the deadline, then we're going to have to terminate. And I'll let y'all know there is a document of a reinstatement of contract. I'm not recommending you terminate, but if that's what it takes, if you're in a due diligence period and it's a big amount of money or a big deal to your clients and they end up needing to terminate, but it was just, somebody had an emergency or something came up, then you are able to reinstate the contract if needed. So keep that in the back of your brain when you're doing some negotiating, especially coming down to the wire. So don't be afraid to text or call me to ask me a question. That's not why I'm doing this training tonight. I am busy, but I also love helping agents be successful at our brokerage. I hope that y'all can see that. This is truly, who I am. Your success as an agent makes us thrive as a brokerage and ultimately is what makes us successful. So I've said that a bunch of times. That was a preconceived idea that I had, that whenever I got my license, I needed to join a successful big brokerage because that was going to make me successful. But it's actually the opposite. I make the brokerage successful and you make the brokerage successful. So we appreciate our agents and we hope that y'all, feel that and see that. If there's ever any questions you have that I didn't go over tonight or just anything else that comes up, feel free to call me, text me. Here's my email here and I will respond usually within the day. Just making sure we're good on our chat. Jeff said he's officially retired as of April 1st. So sorry to see you go, Jeff. That is unfortunate, but congratulations on your retirement. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank y'all all for being on tonight. I hope to see y'all all soon, hopefully next week. And we're going to be talking about negotiation next week. Thank y'all for being on. Have a good evening. Bye bye.